Hey everyone, welcome to the Meta Report, where we break down some of the LEC trends in just a couple of minutes. With patch 10.4 landing in pro play, we've seen an increase in tank champions being played, even though most haven't been directly buffed recently. In this patch, Immolate items got buffed. Bomby Cinder, Cinder Hulk, and Sunfire Cape do extra AoE damage when using an ability that immobilizes opponents. Ornn was already the king of tanks before 10.4, as he brings everything to the table, from tankiness with his passive to scaling with item upgrades, primary engage that can be started from a distance, and a surprising amount of damage due to his brittle procs. All of this, alongside the buffs to Sunfire Cape, just solidified his place in the meta. His presence rose from 60% to pick ban status, and he is now being flexed more often into the mid lane. This increases his pick priority as he can be blind picked in more situations. An old staple in pro play has also made a return. Sejuani was not contested at all in the first weeks of the LEC Spring Split, but buffs brought her back. Previous patches gave her extra health, extra resistances on her passive, extra base damage on permafrost, and then increased clear speed. All of these buffs were incentive enough to bring her back, and with extra damage from Cinder Hulk, her presence rose further as she became a top jungle pick once again, much to Jankos' disappointment. Alongside support, these are the main tanks that you should now expect to see more and more from now. But other picks are also on the horizon. Zac is one of them. His last buffs date back to the second half of Season 9, but once again, he also benefits from the buffs to the Immolate items, and just like Ornn, he can be flexed. Years after being played outside of the jungle, Zac Top showed up once again. He has good synergy with the recently changed Conqueror rune for extended trades in lane. In the jungle, he's still your typical Aftershock Cinder Hulk jungler. Long range engage with Elastic Slingshot and a ton of disruption from stretching strikes and Let's Bounce makes him extremely strong against less mobile backlines, which are very common now, as Aphelios, Senna, and Misfortune are amongst the most popular AD carry picks. Then there's Maokai. While he hasn't shown up in the LEC just yet, he's been picked around the world, and once again, as a flex pick. TSM's Bjergsen picked him in the mid lane, and while things didn't work out well, don't expect this to be a one-off. Similarly to Zac, he got several base damage buffs throughout the second half of Season 9, and those, coupled together with the Sunfire buffs, are enough to bring him back to pro play. With tanks becoming more popular, it's only natural that counters start showing up as a response. Trundle is the classic example of this, as the main reason to pick him is to shred resistances with his ultimate. Currently, he's a common jungle answer to Sejuani, as he can steal her resistances with Subjugate, allowing his team to get through the front line faster. KALISTA is another champion that has increased in presence recently. Her synergy with Blade of the Ruined King makes her effective at shredding high health targets, and in addition, she can play around temporary buffs such as Aftershock and Gargoyle Stoneplate active, stacking spears on those enemy tanks and delaying her rend until those effects have worn out to maximize her damage. Her recent pairing with Taric also allows her to play more aggressive and freely in elongated fights as she dances around stacking spear after spear. For everyone else that doesn't have specific tank shredding abilities, shifting up itemization may just do the trick. With more tanks on the Rift, you should expect more AP champions itemizing for items such as Liandry's Torment and Void Staff. On the AD side of things, Blade of the Ruined King to shred max health and Last Whisper items to penetrate armor will become more important. Anyways, that's it for today. If you run into tanks in your own games, consider situational itemization and specific tank busting picks to deal with them. Alternatively, banning Ornn is never a bad idea.